Hello, and thank you for joining me today for talking about streamlining your product innovation for your business, leveraging the power of Siemens Digital Industry Solution portfolio of proven solutions to streamline your development processes. Now today, we specifically are going to talk about the value of integrated requirements engineering, which is a key means of clearing out your product development traffic jams on your journey to digitalization. We'll start out by talking about the challenge to become a digital enterprise. Now, regardless of your industry, a common thread impacting every product developer is that products are getting much more complex, comprised of mechanical, electrical, and software components. Do any of these sound familiar to you, like schedule delays, poor market acceptance, or non-compliance because requirements weren't tied to product design and delivery? Design teams can't find or reuse the right design information when they need it. Tedious design reviews, processes, and late discovery of issues when it can be the most difficult and most costly part of the change. Transitioning to manufacturing delayed because the bill of materials had errors or was incomplete, or slow or error-prone change practices that fail to account for all the cross-domain impacts, or different parts of your organization working from different sets of requirements with different validation tests and more. Now, if you're seeing these issues in your businesses, it's time to rethink your approach to a product development and face the challenge of becoming a digital enterprise. What we're offering is a roadmap to help you take the next steps of your journey to digitalization. We can help you digitalize your business with our fully integrated approach to product lifecycle management, or PLM. Team Center can help you collaborate across systems, domains, and departments to help you accelerate this product innovation and improve your product quality and streamline the handoff from engineering into manufacturing. Now, an important part of this is of capturing and integrating the voice of the customer requirements with the product lifecycle. And we care about requirements because that's what the customer will buy. If we don't listen to the requirements, we build products that don't meet customer needs. That's how you know when you've arrived. Otherwise, we have this tendency to overdo it or underdo it, wasting valuable resources. That's how you know when we have a quality product. Per quality gurus Duran and Phillips, quality is conformance to requirements. And it's the most common language across multiple domains, which each speak their own discipline-specific language. Requirements is a language that everyone speaks if they expect to build a customer-compliant product. Now, most organizations recognize the importance of requirements, which are typically managed outside the product lifecycle in documents or standalone requirement tools. Now, since these requirements are outside the lifecycle, they don't have the power to prevent problems without a lot of manual intervention and effort. For example, some of you may have received a recall notice from your vehicle manufacturer. You're not special. The automotive industry issued 54 million of these recalls during the 2020 year. Now, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, NHTSA.gov, says that each of these recalls costs about $100 per recall per vehicle. Now, that's $5.4 billion in direct costs that was spent on these problems last year. Many of these recalls have to do with failing to communicate change across the various disciplines involved, including requirements and regulations. So this is a symptom of organizations, disciplines, complex system interactions at all, attempting to communicate in a disconnected way. Now today, without the digital thread, organizations and discipline boundaries create barriers to communications, resulting in communication and engineering problems at those boundaries. A requirement change, for example, on one side of the barrier isn't communicated to another. The later those lost communications are discovered, the more expensive it gets. But you already know this, and actually set aside half your program schedules and resources to deal with these system integrations problems caused by these missed requirements. We're integrating the requirements with the product lifecycle that allows requirements to frictionlessly flow across the organization and disciplines, improving the communication to eliminate these integration problems currently consuming half your program schedules and budgets. Well, this creates a requirement GPS system, if you will, in your PLM system that integrates requirements with the product lifecycle so requirements can guide you in your product development journey. Now, you already know how to use this in your personal life and use these integrated approach in your everyday journeys with your GPS on your mobile systems or on your vehicle. Now, integrating requirements with PLM enables you to avoid these current late cycle compliance problems to becoming continuously in compliant, or as we put it, start integrated, stay integrated. So let's show you how this all works, starting with capturing the voice of the customer and then integrating it with the entire product development process. So you're looking today at here at a web browser. I merely point my web browser at the Team Center. This is what we refer to as active workspace. In this case, if I were going to go in and start a new project, for example, for a new hand drill, I'm going to go look for the specs or the existing requirements so I can start there. And what I have the ability to do here is to search and filter to make it easy to find what I'm looking for. So rather than looking into the entire database, I'm only looking for specific information, and this allows you to filter down to a specifically kind of information you're interested in. So using this, I'm going to jump over into the new consumer hand drill project that I'm about to undertake. Now, as I step into this, you can see I have a structure of requirements. This is equivalent to your bill of materials type of structures that are used throughout your project, product structures, functional structures, process structures, and so forth. This is a requirement structure that's now available to you. And I'll point out to you that these requirements that you see here are first-class objects, just like anything else in Team Center. Now, that means it's subject to all the variation, change, so forth and so on as you work here. So what I'm going to do in this process, I'm going to go create some new requirements for this new project. Oh, before I go there, I'll point out to you that you can see here that as I select on this, I can look at this in a documentation or a specification type view. This looks familiar to you because it'll look just like your existing specifications. The difference here is each of these paragraphs, if you will, are individual requirements, and those individual requirements have their own individual life cycles. So you can change, for example, a particular requirement and have it participate in various versions of the spec and so forth. So now that I've got this, I'm going to go ahead and add some requirements here. Now you notice when I do this, it creates this object in the structure of requirements. This new requirement is being placed there. This is asking that we have a cheaper processor in this specification. Now, of course, there's many different kinds of requirements that you're going to want to create. Now, this could also, of course, have been imported directly from external sources like standards, RIF standards, or Word documents, those kinds of things. I could also, of course, have created and manipulated these requirements directly from standard Office products like Excel and Word, for example. Now, each of these individual requirements can have a different behavior based on the type. So, for example, electrical requirements or performance requirements or safety requirements can have different rules, different variation, so forth. So now as we've got this, the important here, as I pointed out earlier, is the fact that what we care about with requirements isn't necessarily just the requirements themselves, but where they go. So what we're after doing is, you'll notice that as I scrolled down through this, you saw these link indicators. And you have the ability, via drag and drop and otherwise, to be able to look at the trace relationships that go place. There's a special tab if you want to get some more details here, but as you look at this, you can see that the selected requirement for longer battery life traces to a motor, a complete gearbox, a machine housing, and of course it can go to other things, like for example, it can go to project schedules or tasks, it can go to manufacturing processes, can go to warranty issues, can go to all those other kinds of objects that exist inside a Team Center and are used to manage the entire product life cycle. Now, I could have edited these requirements either directly in either the spec view or in the property view. And of course, what I'm going to do now that I've got all my requirements gathered is you'll notice I'm about to start a standard change process. Now, this is a standard change capability that's part of the PLM systems, in particular Team Center in this case, but you can now see how these requirements, if I gathered up all the changes for parts, products, or whatever, the requirements would actually participate in that process as well. So that's what you're about to see here, is it's going to launch into a change practice or a change process. And now that I've gone, it's going to go out and do its thing. Now, of course, this is all in the context
of a web browser that has Teamcenter behind it. It gives you the scalability and the security you need to pull off any size project.
Taking a closer look at the capabilities in Teamcenter requirements management solution, really we'd like to focus on 4 areas to help you capture and leverage the voice of the customer in Teamcenter to, for example, capturing the requirements and using a variety of tools, and then manage, share, and maintain them across the single source of truth. And then we want to tie those requirements to your project plans to help you marshal appropriate resources, to optimize your development schedules, to ensure people understand why they're performing a task and executing it accordingly. Then we want to link these requirements throughout the product and all its configurations and process across the entire life cycle. And lastly, to link these requirements across the life cycle, you're better able to intentionally assess the impacts of all the inevitable changes that will be proposed and ensure that they're all being addressed to guide the program to success. So does this work? Well, CKW, an automotive supplier that developed and manufactured the world's first adaptive cornering lights for motorcycles and automobiles with active roll and pitch angle compensation, uses Teamcenter requirements management to facilitate smarter decision making and product innovation. The benefits that they've seen are consistent traceability through all these changes, accelerated change execution, changes become scalable and expandable and analyzable, and it results in reliable process specifications. So you don't have a requirements management problem, you have a requirements communication problem that's consuming almost half of your program schedules and resources. So today's products, of course, are built everywhere by global teams, and using an unscalable, disconnected, document-oriented process can't keep up. You know this already and spend half your program schedule on system and supplier integrations, in endless meetings, unforeseen change impact understanding and management, all while dealing with all the downstream impacts in manufacturing suppliers and domains. Now we're proposing a different approach, to a continuously integrated approach, by including requirements in the single source of truth. So requirements, parameters, and more are delivered through PLM that everyone, including suppliers, can see and understand the impact of change, enabling everyone to stay integrated throughout the product development and delivery, ensuring you don't end up with these costly headline-grabbing miscommunications that happen in many of today's complex development industries. So we started out talking about the traffic jam in your product development process. We hope you can see the value of integrated requirements to smoothing out all your development processes to ensure and enable a continuous system integration. So we want to thank you for attending today. You can learn more about Teamcenter by watching our webinars on siemens.com/impact-of-PLM. You can also learn how to get started quickly and cost effectively with Teamcenter X Cloud Software as a Service at siemens.com/teamcenterx. Sign up for a free 30-day trial to experience Teamcenter software that's easy to access and easy to use, and including most of the common use cases for PLM, and even including integrated requirements management. Thank you.